Okay, so we are in July. My goodness. So that means July, August, and then preparation is practically finished. Wow, how time has flown by. July is about practice and review. Please remember these two words, practice and review. Of course, in May and June, there's been practice for the 11 plus exams, but the review part of it is very important, okay? Now, if you have followed my steps for May and June, then you would have covered a lot of content with your child. You should have filled in a lot of the gaps with your child in their maths, in their English, in their non-verbal reasoning. Now it's about using sample papers, past papers, and I will speak about them a bit later in the video. Some important information on past papers and some of the mistakes that many parents make regarding them. But basically, use them. Start to use exam conditions. So this means timing your child, not just giving them the opportunity to do the paper, but to actually do the paper within timed constraints. So if your child is working on a verbal reasoning paper and it's a 50-minute paper, they need to be working within that 50-minute time frame. And if they finish ahead of that, they need to get into the practice of spending the remaining time checking their work, etc. So this is highly important. Go through your marking with them and see if they understand where they went wrong so that they can add that knowledge to their next papers and so on. Remember to keep writing going on. It needs to continue all the way through into the end if your child has any kind of writing task in either stage 1 or stage 2 of their exams. Now, I want to mention that we actually have a creative writing crash course, and this is a video-based crash course which I designed about 6 years ago. And with this, your child can watch videos that teach them how to write the different types of writing tasks. So your diary entry, descriptive writing, recount writing, all the transactional writing tasks that the 11 plus exams can ask them will be in there. And then your child gets to submit their work and it will be marked on video. We use a very unique system. I created it because I hadn't seen anything like it in the market. These days you get some very weird and wonderful audio clippings and some video based marking that isn't anything like what we provide. It's like looking over the shoulder of an English tutor marking your work, but the beauty is they get to keep the video. So one of the problems with explaining lots and lots of information and corrections to students in a traditional English lesson when it comes to their writing is that they can't retain everything. But the video is something that they can watch again and again to help them improve their writing. So we see a significant jump in scores with the creative writing crash course, and a link is wherever you're watching this video, there'll be a link there. Head over and watch the demo of how we record, how we mark basically, and see the depth of detail and instruction that's provided. When we go on to maths, it's now important that your child is doing mixed topic papers. So sample papers that are covering all the topics in the exam, within the paper, as opposed to focusing on just fractions or just percentages, for example. So use the likes of the CGP books. I would recommend using the 9 to 10 book at this stage, because you've now spent a couple of months plugging gaps. So if you start using the assessment papers within the CGP books, it will really help your child to get an understanding of the level they need to be working at. It will also stretch them a bit more, because Now they're working a lot more with worded problems and having to apply the knowledge that they've acquired in the month of June and in the month of May. And we also want to look at mistakes carefully, especially where maths is concerned. Often with maths, we might say, oh, that's a silly mistake, but usually it means that somewhere in the foundation of the child's understanding, something isn't quite right. So I would literally go back to the basics and build up again to the word problem. Now, with verbal and non-verbal reasoning, it's just practicing lots of papers. Many books are quite good, like the CGP books, where they actually explain how to derive the answer. They don't teach how to actually work on specific codes and things, but they will actually explain in the answers how to derive the answer, which will be helpful because it's this practice and review month. Now, let's talk about mock tests. So many parents think about taking the plunge and booking their child in for a mock test. I'm not a fan of independent mock test providers because I think that a lot of what they produce in terms of the scoring and so on is usually so appalling, it makes parents panic and the students. And I think that sometimes the idea is to get parents to rebook their child to try and get an improvement. You can actually provide a mock test environment in your own home by giving your child a paper that they've never seen before by a different publisher, basically. The benefit of a mock test is that your child gets the experience going somewhere unfamiliar and completing an exam with other children who they have never met. So it's a pseudo mock run through of the experience that they would gain in a grammar school situation. The only thing is, when your child actually goes for their grammar school exams, the queues will be much longer and it's just a much busier process, busier day, etc. But it will at least give them a little bit of an experience. So if you have a child that's usually very nervous about going to different places and so on, perhaps a mock test with an independent provider will be helpful. Now, I did say that I would speak about past papers. Now, the thing about past papers is that most grammar school counties don't actually provide them. And so what many parents do is they go and download past papers from independent schools, and some of them are so irrelevant to the grammar school types of papers because of the style of paper that the schools decide to use. I'll give you an example. So if you look at the St Paul's girls maths paper, it's nothing like the GL exams maths paper. In fact, there's a lot of reasoning in those papers, and it doesn't seem like the maths topics that your child has been busy learning for the grammar schools bear any kind of relevance in those papers. That school is looking for children who are able to perform in a particular way, have a particular amount of understanding and so on. So I highly recommend that you use the GL packs. There are, I think, about 4 that you can download for free, 4 or 6 that you can download for free. And then there are published packs that you can buy from Amazon, WH Smith's, Waterstones, etc. So that's what I would recommend. And then a thing to avoid is the likes of eBay, where you get some unscrupulous people selling so-called 11 plus past papers and packs. Most of those papers are actually free to download online, and then they contain snippets from books that they have no copyright arrangement for. So in other words, they are reselling books in PDF forms that have probably been scanned in, etc., mixed in with free sample papers that you could get online by just spending an afternoon or an evening downloading them yourself. So be wary of that. That's everything. I think for the month of July, I want to say well done if you are still working through this process. And remember, as I always say, hard work, it pays off. Bye. Thanks for watching. Do you need help with your writing? Don't forget to check out Geek School Tutoring's online writing courses at www.the11plusessay.co.uk. We have everything from creative writing courses to English comprehension courses and English grammar and punctuation courses, just to name a few. Remember to like, comment and subscribe to our channel and to switch on your notifications so you know when our next video goes up. Bye. Collins,